See the writing on the wall. And I've been in the work, tuck the seeds to the wind so that we can move forward. See what the world needs now. A bit more than a love song. All the hate ain't got us nowhere. New slaves wandering through the forest. When it's all said and done, we that move with sound. Wait and stand in your truth till your eye are bound. In that moment arise, lose the shackles from your mind. Choose your vibration.
What's up, y'all? Greetings. Welcome, everybody, to That's So Calysōl. I'm your host, Calysōl, and thanks for joining in. Today, I want to give a special thank you to everyone for tuning in. As you're coming in, please hit the like and share button, and definitely subscribe to the Feel Good Network. We have a plethora of good content on here by good creators. So make sure you subscribe and dig in. Happy Black History Month, y'all. Happy Lovers Day in a couple of days. I know we got Lovers Day for those of y'all that celebrate it. I celebrate love every day in my life. So that means you can buy me flowers, you can send me gifts, you can take me to lunch any day, baby. Also, I want to say cheers and happy Super Bowl Sunday to all of y'all that celebrate Super Bowl Sunday. I don't really fool with that either. That's why we still broadcasting today. So this previous weekend, we had a really explosive weekend here on the Feel Good Talk Network. We had our annual appreciation ceremony, and that was there in Wilmington, Delaware. We had so much fun. So I want to say a big thanks to Mr. Charles Brakely. He is our CEO and founder. He stays in the background on my podcast, but you can see him on a lot of other folks' podcasts in the network. He also has his own podcast on the network, Feel Good Talk and Love 101. I want to say a big shout out to him for being our CEO. We honored him this week and this previous week to give him the CEO of the Year award because really appreciate everything that you do for us, Charles. Also, I want to say a big congratulations to all the other podcasters on the network for showing up and doing what you do. I know we show up in each other's comment sections and stuff like that, and we come and we participate in each other's podcasts. So congratulations to all of you all. We were all honored this week, and that was so much fun. That was a great event. Now, today, my topic is going to be on financial abuse. Huh? What'd you say? I know a lot of people don't think about financial abuse when they think about abuse, right? But financial abuse is a big thing. Today, I'm going to be referencing the book Healing Toxic Relationships because I've experienced some financial abuse, but the first time that I heard of it in book format where somebody actually addressed it was in this book. And this is Healing Toxic Relationships 101, a course in recognizing and purifying toxic relationships. And that's by Naeem Najee. And if you don't know Naeem, he's one of our other podcasters on the network. He actually received 2 awards this year. He received an appreciation award, and he also received a dedication award because I believe his show has been going for about 3 years now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring Naeem on today so that he can talk to us in regards to healing toxic relationships, financial toxicity being one of those relationships. I can't hear you, brother. But I can hear myself. Whenever you get in, Naeem, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, can you hear me now?
I
Hello,
can hear you now. How you doing today, brother?
hello. I'm good. I'm good. My microphone is having a call for love right now, but anyway, I'm doing okay.
It's all
So
good. It's
good
all
to be
good.
here.
Right on. Thanks for coming and welcome and congratulations. I get to say congratulations to you face to face right here, brother. Congratulations
Yeah.
on your appreciation award from Feel Good Talk and your dedication award. That was a dedication award, right?
Yes. Consistency award. So same thing.
Consistency, consistency. Yeah, you were talking about. I know where I got confused. You were talking about um, dedication on your show this week on Love 101, and
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's one of them things that we be needing to work on sometime, right? So for everyone listening
Yeah.
in,
And
I'm
the
gonna get here.
consistency.
You said what?
Oh no, go ahead. I was just getting some stuff set up here.
Same here. So for everyone dropping in and listening in, and I know some of y'all might not be up in here in the live today because it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I know y'all out there cooking your wings and such. So might not have too many comments today, but that's all right. We're gonna still keep it rolling. So my first question in regards to financial abuse is what comes to your mind when you think of financial abuse?
So that's a question for everybody and me, or
That's a question for everybody. And since you the love doctor and you talked about financial abuse in your book, then what comes. I would say this before you think, because we know you super educated, Naeem. This brother's smart as whiz. But just
don't know.
think in general terms, like the average everyday person might not be thinking as in depth as you. Like what's going to come to their mind immediately when they think or hear the term financial abuse?
They're gonna we when we're gonna think about basic. Well, in the book we talk about two different kinds of abuse. We talk about obvious or direct abuse, and then subtle or indirect. So it's not
Mhm.
so obvious, but usually what comes to mind is the obvious stuff. That's why I put it that way, because there's so many forms of passive abuse. Like passive aggressive stuff. Like it's one thing if I'm like this, like, Naeem, are you listening to me? And I'm just like, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm over here, right? But then it's
Mhm.
another thing if I'm like you listening to me, like, like I'm not listening to you, but it's more like passive, it's subtle. Like, okay, yeah, he's really doesn't seem engaged, but I know he's not listening. So for the financial abuse, for all of it, we look at the direct stuff. We look at physical abuse. We're like, oh well, this person has physically beat me up, so it's physical abuse. But what about neglect? Like if you have children and you don't feed them, that's still abuse, right? That's counted as abuse. But it's different than if you like are physically harming someone directly. So for financial abuse, we think of things like someone stealing money out of your pocket. Like, here's my wallet, right? I leave it sitting somewhere and someone goes in my wallet, takes some money out and puts it in their
Yeah,
pocket.
brother.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
financially
put some
abusing
of
me.
that over.
Or yeah,
See all
I
that?
got
I feel
I
it,
got
brother.
$2 for you.
You know what? You know what? I
I
meant
got
to tell you
$2.
about that too. Because I just seen you at the awards ceremony, and I was like, "Dang, he kind of got me programmed." And I was looking for my little $2 bill with my love sketches that you be putting on it and stuff. And you didn't give me my $2, but it's all right because I hitched a ride with you, so I'll my $2 blessing that I expect. That I
I'm
expect.
glad that I'm known as the $2 bill man. That's been my actual mission for a long time, to make sure $2 bills get back in circulation. So
Let
but
me
I
tell
also
you.
want to acknowledge Calysōl, because you got an award as well, and I appreciated your speech bringing awareness to the fact that we're all here as a community, circulating knowledge and putting ourselves out there, and your consistency, because a lot of people be like, oh, a Super Bowl today, let's not do it. And my day or my podcast falls on Lover's Day, as you call it, or Valentine's Day, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to do it. I might do it a little earlier. I might change the time, but I'm going to be on there. And the whole thing is, if people want to see it later, they can always see it later. So
That's
that's
right.
all good.
That's
And
right.
before I continue, I'm going to ask if our engineer in the back, Chuck B, if there's any comments, if you could bring them up now, because we don't know. But if they
I
are,
got
just
them
bring them
right
up.
here. I got them right here.
Oh, you got him. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, yep, yep. No, it's all good. We just got folks dropping in here. That's Charles. He said, "Good evening, Naeem," and
Good evening.
then good evening, Charles. He said it was an awesome time at the event, and he also gave me my thanks and appreciation. You
Yes.
know, I be hopping around on the comments, Charles. I appreciate though how you pulling them up on the screen. uh, we got brother Robert Dickerson tonight. He says, "Good
Oh, Robert.
evening, FGT group and family. I'm stuffing my face, but I'm tuned in. What you over there eating, Robert? Hmm? You got some chicken, perhaps, brother? Some
Some
pretzel
wings and
bites,
things.
wings and tings, some pretzel bites. I know folks was getting their little Super Bowl menus together. He probably just eating regular though, you know. Izzy's in the house. Izzy says, "Thank you for tuning in." Hey, Izzy. HT Lovejoy. She said, "Positive vibrations, Calysōl." What's up, HT? Good to see you tonight. And you know what? I look like I got a bone to pick with you, brother, because Charles said that you gave him two
He,
two $2 bills.
you see, he's trying to instigate. This
I
is
wish I.
passive. He's instigating. He's trying to start fights and stuff.
Oh shoot, brother Robert talking about he got some smothered turkey wings. Yeah, that's not Super Bowl food. That's regular food. Ooh, I like that. I like that. That sounds delicious. Izzy says, "Thank you for tuning in, Kathy Dixon." I didn't see Kathy. Hey, Kathy. I'm sorry I missed you. I don't see you over here. Izzy, also, thank you, Izzy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do in the background. Izzy be just about at everybody's podcast,
That's
pretty
right.
much live in the background, you know, giving love to all the people that drop in. And then I know you do a lot keeping things going here on the network too, Izzy. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do. And congratulations to you as well, my sister. Now, I asked the question, what comes to mind when you think of the term financial abuse? And for me, soon as I hear that term, I'm actually triggered because I don't know why I'm getting a little bit of feedback. But I end up being a person that loves to help people. I don't mind giving. But sometimes I end up finding myself in the position where I'm really for real being taken advantage of. And, you know, now that I've grown a little bit, I see that I be enabling people to take advantage of me. So I'm learning to create boundaries and guidelines and stuff like that. Like, yo, I'll do this for you and, you know, some contingencies and such. But when what comes to mind when I think of financial abuse is people borrowing money. People love to depend on other people to borrow money to survive. They'll utilize your resources. I know it's the beginning of the year, so a lot of people start regrouping and reassessing their finances and everything, right? And you know, people that are responsible, let's say that they start reassessing their finances, their budgets and stuff, and it's like, oh, we're making our adjustments and all of this. And my last show, I introduced the book Everyday Millionaires by Chris Hogan. And as I started reading the book, he started putting a lot of things in place for us to set ourselves up to become millionaires. And what he was saying was a lot of people in general, I think he said about 75% of the population, especially with the younger folks, the millennials and such, they think that wealth and people that have become millionaires have just become millionaires and been given their wealth down, you know, inherited inheritances and stuff like that. And that's that's not necessarily the truth. Like the majority of people that are millionaires are folks that you wouldn't even know are millionaires, and they've done it over time, little by little by little by little. And I was watching this video the other day of this dad and this son on at one of the social media platforms, And the dad was trying to tell the son, like, yo, you should go out and shovel some snow. First of all, I need you to shovel our snow. And then I want you to, you should go around the neighborhood and shovel some of the neighbors' snow. And the little boy was getting real zesty with his dad. He's like, I ain't about to do that. What I need to do that for? And I was like, woo. First of all, you know, trigger warning. I probably, I might have would have reached over and pinched him or something and tried to figure out why he was talking so zestily to me. Um, but then when I looked deeper into it, I was like, well, the dad must not have shown the son his work. Like how he became as stable as he has and how he's been able to afford the lifestyle to the son that he's been given. He's sitting here talking about he ain't about to go shovel no snow. He must be quite comfortable. And to me, that's like the beginning when it comes to our children for the seeds of financial abuse. Like you teaching them how to be abusive if you ain't teaching them how to get money and how to save money. You just, giving them everything that they want. Um, but what Chris was saying in his book is you have to build slowly. You have to utilize 401ks and stuff like that. So what ends up happening with our people that are more responsible is people that are irresponsible or totally unaware of responsibilityness or irresponsibilityness, them they like to lean on people that keep their stuff together, that are pretty stable, right? It's like, oh, I'm not about to do that because I can call Naeem. I see Naeem out there, brother, got all the $2 bills in his pocket. Naeem, hey, and then they'll come with their sad story, right? In order to garner the abuse, because that's another thing when it comes to people that enable folks to abuse them. People know how to pull our heartstrings. They know how to tell us the
That's right.
story.
They got the
They
stories.
look, it'd be like, "Hey, Naeem, how you doing today, brother?"
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing good, except for like I just got this notice the other day, that I owe like $1,700. For running up this card, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because they just keep charging me interest and stuff. But I just be trying to stay fresh, brother. But anyway, I spent my rent money on. No, matter of fact, they ain't even gonna be that honest. They gonna be like,
No,
"You think you
no,
can help me out a little bit because
no.
consequently."
They just gonna jump straight to I can't pay my rent. I need help. Got kids, got so and so. Not the part about I spent 1,700 on the bag, right? That's they gonna leave that out. You giving a lot of credit there, Kelly.
That's why I was like, let me back that up. They're not gonna give you no context. They just
Yeah.
gonna be like, yo, man, my rent is due. I'm already 30 days past due. And this
Yep.
the landlord talking about he's gonna come kick me out, brother. You think you can help me out? I see you got all the money over there, you know what I'm saying?
Like it just dropped on me, right?
Been
And it's
real
just
hard.
magical. No. And
So
then
yeah,
can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
All right, just checking. So no, that's a good example. So the question is, what do you do in that? I'm asking that to anybody listening live. How do you respond to that situation? And especially it's been a situation where this person is often coming to you for money or right. It's because people wouldn't ask unless they thought they could get something. It's back to human nature. You're going to find the path of least resistance. So if it's like, I know if I ask Calysōl, she's probably going to say no, but Chuck is going to more likely say yes, then I'm going to ask Chuck. But if I can get half from Chuck and then half from Naeem or whatever, then it's like that. So the mind starts working in very mysterious ways to get what, when someone wants for themselves, right? And the ability to make connections. It's kind of like, when you have a tragedy or something happen in the family and then relatives you haven't heard from in years and decades find a way to reach you. It's like, saw your son in the liquor store, and then they called their cousin, and then I called around to the Aunt Mabel, and then she connected me with your old landlady who talk to the so-and-so who gave me your number. And it's like, wow, how did you do that? Freaking NSA level situation. But that's what I mean. When people want an answer, they'll start finding solutions. And what you were saying about that millionaire book, I heard this quote from Jim Rohn. He said, if someone gives you $1 million, best you become a millionaire if you want to keep the money. Because the thing we don't talk about too is like 70% of people who win the lottery, and I'm talking about for hundreds of millions of dollars, not only lose the money within 18 months, they are in a worse case than they were when they started, meaning in more debt and worse off because they have no financial understanding or management. And when you get that lumps, people think, I win the Powerball, it's going to be great. It's like, yeah, until a year from now when you're going to be in a worse scenario. And that's if you don't have the mindset, right? In terms of just recognizing financial abuse, not having boundaries for yourself around your money. It's like, I really have a craving for this, whatever, shopping spree, this food. It's like, even if you buy a $5 mocha loca choca latte, whatever, every day from Starbucks or wherever, and you just don't do that, what's $5 times 30, or forget 30, 20? That's $100, right? So if you have $100 budget for your caffeine or whatever it is, and you just change that, you have $100 more for yourself that month. You know what you can do, and you start investing or doing something with $100 a month. But it takes discipline, and it takes well, mostly discipline and consistency, which is the same thing. So anyway,
I don't think a lot of people think about the consistency. And I don't think a lot of people budget, first of all. Let's just say that. Because if you really looked at your budget, if you mentioned coffee, I love a good caramel macchiato. I have purposely been intentional about getting all of the things that I need to make it here at the house, because I was like, I don't really want to fit $300 to $400 a month into my budget per month just for coffee, right? Especially when you think about, like, I was doing the math the other day, and the Fed just upped the amount that we could invest in our retirement to $7,000 a year. So I went and I did the math, and I'm like, oh, how much? How could I get to $7,000 a year without just pulling out 7,000 and putting it away in an IRA or whatever? Because I'm self-employed, and when I did the math, it was like 300 and something or 400 and something, and I was like, oh, there go the coffee budget right there. Like, why would I pay for coffee today? And I'm gonna get fat off of it because y'all know it's high in calories. Some of the stuff I looked at is like 800 calories for one cup. Like, why would I do that today to myself and make it to the detriment of my health when I could just actually take that money and put it toward retirement? And we don't think about retirement so much in all communities. Early on in life, like early enough, because it's not something that has been programmed into us, and we got all kind of programming that exists, right? But that responsible programming, if you don't have, if they're not doing it at your church, if they're not doing it in the schools, if you're not being taught it in your house, then where else where you gonna learn those types of things from?
And I want to say, going back, because we say about how people are when they'll borrow and selfishness and all that. I just want to go back and establish the point that it's human nature. So when you recognize human nature, then you stop taking it personally that somebody's gonna ask you for money before they would make the money. That the kid don't want to shovel snow because he's know his father's gonna give him money or be okay anyway, right? It's only animal nature, what humans are animals, to do less instead of doing more when you know the result is the same, right? I know I'm going to eat today whether I do extra work or if I just play video games all day. So why would I do extra work, right? And it's also human nature not to project into the future and think about our future selves. And it's also human nature when there are resources in front of you to consume them. The
in math, right?
consumer mindset, consumer behavior. is normal behavior. If you think about the people in your life and you count out the number of people who are spenders and the number who are savers, who do you think is going to be more? On what side? The spenders are going to be more, and the splurgers, or the savers are going to, who's going to be more? It's going to be more. Exactly, because it's human nature. It is a rare type of human who saves, and some of us have to learn to save. Some of us are natural because we like to conserve resources, and we don't have really high, I guess, not as impulsive, or we just are disciplined, or we have a system like, okay, I have $100 a month for my whatever the heck fund, right? And or whatever. But you'll find that savers are usually just wired that way, and most people are spenders. So in our prehistory or our history period as humans, we were hunter, not even hunter, but like we were gatherers, and we were opportunistic omnivores. We were nomadic, right? So it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna go to the refrigerator and get some food. It's like, no, we just killed a buffalo. That's enough food for us for a few weeks, and we're gonna eat it because it's gonna go rotten, and we're gonna eat all of it. It's not, let's put it in the deep freezer. What's the deep freezer? No, we're gonna consume what's there, because in the lean times, you're gonna need to have enough energy to get in the fat times. You're just gonna, so it's like, when it's there, it's going to be consumed. So money is a resource, food is a resource, right? So we're going to consume it. So it's normal behavior to consume. So when you see people get a raise or a bonus, you wonder why your raise keeps going up, but your debt also keeps going up, and your spending also keeps going up, and your lifestyle keeps going up, right? It's because we see it there, we use it, and it's actually, in the context of being in nature, helpful, because it's like, if it's there, we got to use it so that we can survive and have a little bit, we can have it now, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But now, where we have food and resources and transportation, and we can control, our environment for the most part, because we have places to live, then we don't have to move around. We have everything we need. We have the ability to project 10, 20 years in the future about what we're going to need, but it's not normal, and you have to learn that. And so I just wanted to start with that. So it's not normal to save. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of intention. And if you want to become wealthy, or even just debt free, it takes a different mindset, because going into debt is part of that. It's like someone gives you a $5,000 line of credit. We think that that's $5,000. We don't think it's 5,000 ways of getting into debt and into liability and into problems. We're like, oh, I want to go on this vacation. It's $3,000. I don't have $3,000, but I have a $5,000 credit card. So how you gonna ask me? How you gonna ask me to forego my vacation because it's gonna cost me in the future for another 10 years to pay it off? I don't know. I don't think about 10 years. I think about right now. I want to go right now. So,
that's financial abuse, though, by the credit agencies, right?
Yeah,
because they're like, we gonna capitalize off of your foolishness,
off of your humanness, right? Because you just acting like a human. But it is predatory in the sense that they know that, just like these algorithms out here know what we want, and then they advertise to that and all that. So you could look at it either way. It's like, we're going to give you the rope to hang yourself. Now you have to be wise enough and disciplined enough to say, I'm going to use this much of this rope because I can, or this debt, because I can reinvest it and then get a greater return, or I can just buy a bunch of alcohol because I love alcohol and not, and I couldn't afford it.
Bottle service,
tables, all that, all the sparklies, all that stuff. And y'all want to know a real quick fact about why credit card companies or banks incorporate in Delaware? Because a lot of people, I don't know how deep you're going to get into it, but they're like, oh, because, people think that there's different like tax benefits, or you don't have to pay tax. Thing is, for banks and investors, they incorporate in Delaware because there's no limit on how much interest they can charge. They can charge whatever the market will bear. So if it's 10%, they'll do 10%. If it's 200%, they'll do 200%. So I say that's kind of predatory, because you would incorporate, most states have a cap at how much interest you can charge somebody. But when you incorporate in Delaware, like, yeah, use my card, it's only 59% interest. And he's like, I can do that. Then you're in it. They told you up front that what it is, but that's one little reason why they do that.
Huh.
But anyway,
Another thing I wanted to say about what you were just saying in regards to credit, I think that is very interesting that in order to be considered a responsible um, person in regards to credit scores, the credit card companies only want you to utilize 30% and less of your credit limit. And most
yes,
people go way above 30%. And
that's
like once
because
that's
they loan the most to the people who don't need it. That's why, right? And the way to extend your credit, really, a little hack somebody showed me is to let's just say you had $1,000 credit limit. Use let's just use these round numbers. Let's just say you had a $800, not gonna say rent, but let's just say storage fee every month. Charge the storage fee $800 out of the credit. Use that, and then pay the credit card on the beginning or end of the month, and then keep doing. So they'll see that you're using it and paying it. You're using a lot of it and paying it. It's not just, well, I'm gonna just hold 20-30%. It's like, no, I'm gonna use a lot of it. And then they're like, you look like you need more credit. So how about $2,000? Like, yeah. So now I can pay my storage fee and my, let's just say, tuition or whatever bill every month, and that's another 1,000. Now I'm using 1,800 out of the 2,000, and I'm paying it. But I'm only instead of it going out of my checking, I'm putting it on the card and then paying it, and then I can use that to rack up rewards points or whatever too, because sometimes they have those deals, and so you can just use the credit for that, but treat it like a debit and just immediately or pay it as soon as you can, like American Express situation. So that's a little hack you can use to deal with that. But
thanks
again,
for mentioning that.
you just got to be responsible, and if you're not good at saving, I wouldn't even recommend playing with any of that, because the credit card is just a opportunity to go into problems and debt.
Hmm. Absolutely. I want to go
Yeah.
back here to our question because a lot of people chimed in on what they think of when they think of financial abuse. Dun, 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 dun. So HT Lovejoy here on vacation says financial abuse. Borrow your car, return it with an empty tank. Don't tell you about the parking ticket they got. Also, the bridge toll that was taken off your Easy Pass. That's hilarious. That's
Yep.
definitely financial abuse. And somebody hit me here with a text that says, my favorite line, this is from Tiffany. She said, my favorite line is, hey, sis, you think I can hold a little something to payday? Yeah. That's an interesting one because I see that happen a lot with roommates, especially these young people. Like, I don't know how much it is in everybody's city, but rent is going crazy right now. So a lot of the young people are rooming up and living together or whatever. And it seems like you'll have a couple or one roommate that's really financial responsible. Usually that's the one whose name is on the lease, right? And you might have one of the other folks that knows like, oh no, such and such is money. They're going to be on time. This bill is attached to they name, that bill is attached to their name. So I always know they're going to be on time, and I always know they're going to make sure that they have their back. So then it's like, well, they said that, they want me to make sure I give my portion on the first, but really I can push it to the seventh because I know he gets paid, on the 31st of every previous month. So that everything's covered and I can kind of skim through and I'll just,
Yeah.
I'll let him know, oh, I ain't gonna be able to do it, man, because my lunch and all that stuff and my books was due and all this. So that's another, you know,
Here's another way to know that somebody is not thinking straight about money and responsive financial responsibilities. Let's say you have a whatever auto payment every month for $500, but it's due on the first, but they have a grace period of up until the 15th that they won't charge you late. And then you like, when is your car payment due? They're like the 15th. It's like, no, 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 it's not. That's the grace period. It's due on the first. Like I have people say it's due on the first,
yeah,
but they won't give you consequences until the 15th, but it's still due. It's like somebody saying, oh, you're going to, can I, I borrowed your book or your whatever. And you're like, can I get it back in a few days? And I'm like, all right, cool. But I know if I keep telling you, oh, I'm almost finished, you'll give me another week or so just because you're going to give me that grace. And people start out with this, like, I know I'm already intending to violate what we agreed. You let me borrow your book for a week, but I know it's going to take me a couple weeks, or you're not going to be really pressing me about it till 2 or 3 weeks later. So I'm going to give myself in my head 3 weeks to hold the book, which is subtle as financial, it's abuse. And that's why you ever, I mean, we all who've been in school, you ever have a deadline for a paper and it's due in like 2-3 weeks? You're like, oh, okay. But then on the night before, you like
cramming.
But the thing is, that means you could have done it in one day. So if the teacher said today is the 11th, it's due the 12th, you could have got it done. But they said it was due in 2 weeks. So you're like, all right, I can get it done in a few days. I'll get it done until it comes up to that. So again, that's another discipline thing.
Let me get back to these the comments. Yeah, Charles, in response to HT talking about the car, he said, yeah, exactly, HT. That's why I don't loan out my vehicles. Sandra Robinson's in the chat. That's my mom, y'all. Hey, mom. She says smart move.
Mom. Hey,
she must
Sandra.
be talking about what you were talking about with the credit cards. I actually do that. If all of my stuff is set up on auto pay, so like my energy bill, my phone bill. I wish they'd let me put my mortgage. I've been trying to figure out how to get my mortgage on one of these credit card bills. So because what I do is I have the auto pay set up to each of those accounts. Water bill, HOA fees, car insurance, even my life insurance is put on a credit card. And then I have auto pay from my bank to pay the card each month. I get my points for my flights and mileage and all of that stuff. And I was responsible. I paid my bills on time before the deadline, way before the deadline, and it boosts my credit score. So yeah, I'll talk about that later on in the season of like strategic finance and how to build cushions for yourself and how to utilize those grace periods and stuff like that.
Right. And also when you have friends or people you're doing business with, or just casually, exchanging money, if you have a merchant account or something, they can pay you, or you have roommates paying each other rent, pay the rent with your credit card to your friend's merchant account or whatnot. And then you just, pay that off too. Like if the money spends debit or credit, then use the credit and pay it off with your debit. You know what I mean? So
I like
there's no
that
reason
idea.
you can't do that too.
Wow.
And get those points, get those miles, get those cash back, all of that stuff. Just use the system.
That's how we be flying for free. That's why I be traveling all the time, because I'm like, my bills pay for me to fly.
How about that? You deserve that, Calysōl.
Dude, I deserve that. Like you said. Matter of fact, I love that part of your speech when you said, I'm receiving this award because I deserve it. I was like, that is a Naeemism.
You said a Naeemism.
I love it though. You're true to yourself. You're honest with yourself. I think that's why people respect you so much. Because it's like, yo, he gonna shoot straight from the hip,
And it comes from our Course in Miracles practice. I mentioned that in the speech as well. But to be modest or humble doesn't mean to be self-effacing or degrading. Like, it's like, oh, guys, like, I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy. No, please, no. Oh, no. It's like, yes. It's different if I took Calysōl's award and I was like, excuse me, Cali. Yes, that's So Calysōl, received by Naeem Najib, and I deserve it. Like, no, you don't. Like, that's different. It's not for you. But you did the work. It's got your name on it. You deserve it. Like, come on. Is that wrong? It's different to come up there with ingratitude and be like, oh, this is all I get, right? Or whatever. But it's receiving what you deserve is loving for yourself, because apparently a whole host of other people who you respect believe you deserve it. So how respectful is it to them to say, this is too much, guys. I'm just a
No, no,
piece
no.
of dirt under the shoe. I'm just a piece of dryer lint flying in the
Oh
breeze. I don't.
God.
It's not. That's
I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. That's funny too that you mentioned that. Um, that the in regards to like people utilizing other people's resources, essentially that they're telling themselves that they deserve what you got, you know. And
yes.
I appreciated you saying that you deserve that because that was a way of you representing and reminding people I did the work, you know. So like even when it comes to your finances and people want to borrow stuff and always wanting to depend on the more dependent folk, and it's human nature like you said, but it's like because they don't see the work. And I think the way society is set up today is really a setup to have people out here even more. I can't think of a better word other than stupid than we already might be, because it's like on social media, people are always showing what they have, what they have, what they have. But there are not too many. There are a few, but there are not too many people out there showing the work that it took to get whatever they're presenting to you. They just showing you like, oh yeah, I'm flossing, I'm whatever, you know. And it's like, no, you need to show your work, especially when it comes to your kids, because if not, they might not grow up with a drive and a work ethic to present for themselves, because we've all been given the ability to provide for ourselves, no matter what we want to tell people. That, you know, you see folks standing in
Absolutely.
the corner and stuff asking for your money, and it's like, okay, I could help you this time, and that would be great, but how are you going to provide for yourself so that you can get yourself out of this situation? Because it's not my job or anybody else's job to pull another person out.
And it's also a double detriment. I'm glad you said that. When you have this mindset, oh, they got it, so it's easy for them to give it to me. Number one, they may have it, but you disregarded what it took for them to get it because you could have it too. But
Mhm.
so it's just easy to lean on them. And two, they don't even appreciate it when you give it to them, even though you're giving it freely, because they're like, oh, it's easy for them. Like you got all this here, and I just want a little bit. So just it's
Just a
nothing to
little
you
bit.
because yeah, it's not you got it,
A
right?
little bit.
But they don't appreciate it, which is like this, which is why back to the boundaries, you have to be willing to say no. And or when we come down to transaction relationships, it's like maybe I'm not even going to ask for the money back, but I'll ask for something. Like when my brothers, my little brothers and sisters growing up, I'm much older than them, so they were all kids when I was like a teenager and all that. And before they would ask me for money, I would always say, so what do you offer? And it would just be stuff like, all right, well, do 20 push-ups, or let's do some jumping jacks, or did you work out or run, drink some water. It would be connected to some kind of responsible activity. Clean your room, help somebody with this, help me carry this thing in the house, and then I'll give you and negotiate. I'm like, all right, so you want $5. All right, how about 50 push-ups, 50 squats, 50 jumping jacks, and 50 crunches. They're like, well, what about 45 push-ups? They're like, all right, well, if you give me 10 burpees on top of that, then we're like, okay, deal. And then they would do it, and then I would give them the money. Not because I thought they would desperately needed to work out, but just to know that there's an exchange when it comes to this particular form of energy in the world, meaning money.
Absolutely.
It's not free. There's no free money, right? Even if you're getting interest on stuff you invested, you made the act of investing, which is something. It's not just, well, Calysōl, you getting all this interest, all this free money every month. I'm just asking for a little. Like you already got more up off the top. Like, yeah, because of what you did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or even a year ago with money that you made 30 years ago, or whatever the case you're constantly making and receiving from what you've done. And again, even when it comes to passive income, you still did something. There's not a such thing as something for nothing in this world, because even the idea that, oh, this person is giving me money because it's my mom or whatever, it still costs you something. It costs you the mentality that the world will give to you because you so desperately, strongly desire and crave something. So therefore, whatever story you have, like I say, all right, your story, if you could write your story down and send it to your landlord, and they were like, you know what, fine, I like your story. You don't got to pay rent for it. You know what, forget it. 3 months. That story was so powerful. 3 months of rent off. Like, just thank you for that story. If you can get any landlord in the world to do that, then I'll be like, okay. But no, if you can get, your credit card company to take your story, or your mortgage company to take your story and say, you know what, skip a couple months. Your story is bad. This is one of the worst stories. You deserve to not have to pay. And we're going to just take it off the top, off the interest, off the principal. Like, that story right there is worth a few $1,000s. If your story ain't out there as a play or a movie or something making money in actual life or getting dividends, then why should it mean something to me if I'm not a part of it? That's your story. That's your problem. And you got yourself into it more than likely. And even if you didn't, it's still not my problem. And therefore, if I choose to help you, I'm not asking for appreciation, but I'm also not asking to be abusing, taking advantage of as well. So you got to look at it that way. Whatever side of it's you're on, whether you're the one giving or receiving or asking or listening or whatever. Are like, do I really want to buy this story? This person's asking me for $1,000 and they're giving me, is this story worth $1,000? Right? Do I really want to purchase? Because if you can't just give them the money without the story, then you're still looking for something like, yeah, they really said they really need this. They got to buy that baby formula and all that. So when you find out that they brought some cocaine with it or some instead of, or they brought some cigarettes or some alcohol, it's like, they said they was buying baby formula. Now you're offended because you didn't give a free gift. You purchased the story. They said they was buying baby formula. You see on their story that they doing bottle service in the club with the money. And that looked like the same $2 bills they throwing to these strippers. I just gave them these, and they just doing it up at the club. And now you mad because you didn't give them a free gift. You thought they was getting the baby formula, but they was getting they was in the club getting the bottle service.
The bottle girls, the bottle girls.
Different kind of bottle.
That's funny. I just want to go back. You said something about negotiating. You would tell your siblings that they, would need to exchange an action or a service for the money. And you talked about sometimes you would say you wanted them to give you 50 push-ups and they like, how about 45? I think that a lot of people end up financially abused by corporations and stuff like your job because we forget about our negotiating power, especially as people of color. I think sometimes we might think I just have to take what they're going to give me, or maybe not even just people of color, somebody who doesn't necessarily spend their resources properly, so they end up in dire straits in situations to where they have to say, I'll take whatever you give me. But if you know your worth, you can go in and negotiate and say, hey, if you know your worth and you got, a little bit of cushion and the landlord ain't knocking your door down like yesterday, you could be like, no, I'm not going to accept an offer of 65,000. Actually, I think I'm worth 78,000. And here's why. Boom, boom, boom. And you can negotiate.
I'm going to give you 3 examples of that, starting with this. Number 1, the first thing you got to realize, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. You don't ask for a raise. You don't ask for a discount. You don't ask for some more time to pay, whatever. The answer is always going to be no. Some people are just so in their ego and self-conscious about, well, if I ask for that, it makes me look poor or destitute or whatever. But it's like, if you want this, how are you going to receive it if you don't at least open your mouth and ask? So for that, number 1, let's say a raise at work. Go and put it in writing, put it in a email thread, CC all the people involved, and put it up there, because the person that is accommodating in the workplace is the person that doesn't get respected, doesn't get promoted, doesn't get time. They don't receive that because you think that you're rocking the boat or doing something wrong by asking for more. If you're not asking for more on the other end of the barrel of a gun, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not hurting anybody. You're just exercising your right to free speech and to ask. So ask for more. And the worst they can do is say no. Another way you can do this is, what was the example I was going to use? Oh, let's say overdrafts, bank fees. Some banks charge a bank fee, overdraft, some late payments. we've all had some of that in some way, shape, or form. Even if it was a year ago, go to your bank and say, look, it was an overdraft thing, or you charge me this bank fee every month. Can you not charge me that, right? Or tell them I want you to I want you to discharge it or take that off. And most banks have a number like of they'll call it like excuse, like, or they'll say, okay, well, yeah, we'll take this, we'll reverse this charge or whatever the case. And you just have to ask for it. But when you don't ask, it won't happen. And I'm telling you, if you ask for it, and especially if you never asked for it, you're more than likely to get it. The third thing is, let's say there's an item you want in the store. Let's say it could be a blender, a TV, pair of shoes, outfit. They usually have display models and stuff, or stuff that's in a box, and the box might be open, but the stuff is all in there. Ask for a manager, and let's say the thing costs $400, whatever it is. And you're like, do you have the display model of that? And how much would that cost? Because the display model work. Say you want the TV is $500, $600. You're like, I'm not paying that for the display model. How much you charge me? They're like, oh, we'll give it to you for $450. Like, what about $400? And the manager has the keys and the codes to be like, all right, we'll write that off at $400. And it's the same thing. You don't mind taking it home in a janky box, then you're good. Like, if the thing is in any way, like, it don't have to be damaged, the product itself, but just the shipping around it could be messed up. And you're like, could you adjust? Just asking, could you adjust the price on this for me? Like, it's a little messed up. Or I'll take your display model, because I know y'all not really gonna amount for it. And how much would you charge? Ask them. Everything is a negotiation. Everything. So I just, from late fees to at work, even time off, all that stuff, it's all a negotiation. And I like the saying, be ruthless with systems and be kind with people. The systems are there to treat everybody the same. And to, if you position yourself on the right side of a system, then let's just say like, Amazon or whatever, like your package came late and it came when it didn't want to come. You're like, look, I'm gonna need a refund, or my thing didn't come as it was supposed to come. I'm gonna need some money off or whatever. And so the system is already, everything is insured, especially by companies. So they're not suffering a loss when this happens, because they already have it built into the system. So if you position yourself in a way to receive it, then when you talk to the representative, the person, be kind, be understanding. Even if it's an issue with the bank or somebody where it's a fraud alert or whatever, you're trying to work it out, be kind with the people. What I always say to representatives on the phone is like, I may sound pissed off right now, but it's not at you. I know you're just doing your job. It's nothing personal. It's just with the situation that's going on. Like, my thing wouldn't go through and they blocked my card, or they thought they flagged something. I know you're here to help me resolve it, but I'm pissed off about this right now, but it's not about you. Do that, because the people are here to pull the levers for you, because you can't pull them yourself, for the system. But be kind to them, because they did not do it to you. They just work for the thing. They got a job just like you. They're just trying to make money and feed their children and pay their mortgage like you. They did not break the package on your box. They did not do that, right? So you got to be kind to people. Yeah. So anyway, just want to give
you spoke on that a few years ago, and I actually started doing that, like making sure that I let the customer service representatives know when I get on the phone, like, I am very upset. None of this that I'm going to say is directed at you. And I have noticed, like, I'm definitely able to get more done that way than just being.
They appreciate that so much, because for every one person that does that, it's like 100 people that's like, and they start taking it personally. And these people are keeping their composure because they're representing a bigger institution or organization. Like, ma'am, please, just be patient. So and so, we apologize. And it's like, they didn't do nothing to you. They just picked up the phone, and you just needed somebody to vent at, or not even you, your ego. So keep it together. But I'll still go. I'm like, this is some bullshit. But I'm like, but not you. It's not you. Not you. And they're like, yes, we understand. So, and they're so kind to me when I say, I'm like, I don't understand how this is. I'll be going off and so and so, and this and that. I don't know, but not you. This does not have nothing to do with you. And I'm like, but this is some so and so. And then they help me out, because they're like, we understand. Yeah.
Right.
But you got to let them know up front, like, I'm not coming for you. This is you didn't.
That's
You're
right.
actually here to help me. So why would I come at you?
That's right. Kendall Chanel here says, "Hey, I think the role of human nature is such an interesting layer in finances, like humanizing the ways we navigate and talk about strategy."
Yes, thank you for that,
Absolutely.
Kendall. And I would say also for those of us who choose to learn and grow and educate ourselves and tune into conversations like this is something I want to say because I don't hear it said enough by people who are offering information. There are some people who will never get it, okay? And some people just who will never get it in their lifetime. And that's fine. And just because you have gotten it and you have maybe helped other people get it and other people help you get it and you're around a circle of people who do get it, there are some people who just never get it. And they'll always ask you to, for this topic, borrow money and plead and beg and promise, and they will never pay you back. They will never get their stuff together. They will never clean up their act. They just never will. And they're there as a lesson to us to learn empathy and grace and compassion, but not in the form of, I really can't afford it, but I'm gonna just give them money anyway. It's just like, trust that the universe, spirit, God, source, whatever, will take care of them in a channel that doesn't have to be you.
Mhm.
They will be okay.
That's
But
right.
you thinking that it's you that has to be the channel all the time is also a lack of faith and understanding and trust in what's going to be provided, because you're like, I got to be the savior again. And
Oh,
you,
yes.
and be real, your narcissistic uh undercover tendencies likes it. It likes that they're coming to you asking for help. It's like that they're always begging and pleading and groveling, like, oh, please.
Look, you're not gonna be
Like,
coming on here talking about me like that. Now, wait a minute. No, you know what though? I do constantly have to stop myself from that mentality of the savior syndrome, because again, it's like, for me, I've been working on understanding the line between me wanting to help and me crossing, I would say, boundaries that I shouldn't be crossing, which ends up me just trying to take on your problems and feeling good after I've solved the problem. And it's like, that's not my job. That's my ego
right.
wanting to, be in control of somebody else's situation or be seen as their savior. And then that's what ends up happening at the end, me saying, I can't believe they're abusing me like this. Like, I can't believe they took advantage of me. I can't believe they wouldn't pay me my money back. And it's like, well, you are creating this for yourself
And
by
that goes in, no, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
minding other. What my grandma used to say is, stop trying to mind grown folk business. HT, she says it too. She'd be like, we get to talking about things that's going on and stuff. It's like, stop trying to mind other people's business. That's not your job. Stop trying to be in control of somebody else's life.
And that goes back into codependency, because I finished that book last year and it's going to be published. It'll be out soon. I'll let y'all know by Wednesday what's going on. But financial codependency, it still goes back into the emotional codependency, the inability to, or unwillingness to say no, or to think that this person is always, they're going to save me. I'm helpless. I can't help myself. All of that is stuff that has to be grown out of the victim mentality and the savior mentality. They're both mentalities that find each other, because the victim is going to look for a savior and the savior is going to look for a victim, or mentality.
That's
So
bars right there. Say that again, brother.
the victim mentality is going to look for a savior mentality, and a savior mentality is going to look for a victim mentality, because nobody's really a victim or a savior. That's why I'm saying mentality, because the script could flip at any given moment. Like, you could be up like this with everything, and then your identity gets stolen and all your stuff goes into the negative tonight. And now you need some saving, but the channel is not going to necessarily be what you think it is. So nobody is a savior. We're in this dance, in this play, to learn the lessons that we are here to learn. And the main thing is that you're not special. Okay. Anything could happen to you or anybody else. You're up here and then you could be down there. You're down here, you could be up here. But be humble, not in the fate, in the mindset of like, oh, I'm not worthy, but just knowing, being grateful is a better way to say it. I'm grateful for what I have, for everything I went through to have that, even when I didn't have. And I'm also humble and acknowledging that I could be on the other side of that at any time. Even the inability to use like my body, like sciatica hits you, or you get paralyzed, or you fall, or something that just takes away your ability to function as you normally do. And we're all temporarily, as Dreddy Gal would say, temporarily abled, but that's not just physically, even financially. Even when you have your emotional capacity or your social battery is down, like I can't deal with another person right now. Like you literally, I need some time for myself. Like we have to understand that we are not anybody's savior, and we are not a victim of the world we see. And it's okay to be in whatever position. Just know that you don't have to be codependent on any one person or source to take care of you. You will be taken care of. Just have to be open to the channels.
Thank you. Thank you. Naeem, I can't hear you.
Okay, I said, and be willing to use it too. So stuff we shared, like call your company, your bank, whatever, ask them to reverse the charges, reverse the late fee or whatever. Ask, because in the asking, whatever happened, like make your goal this week to ask for more. I'm gonna leave this Course in Miracles quote: "We don't ask too much of life; we ask far too little." I'm gonna say that 2 more times. We don't ask too much of life; we ask far too little. Far too little. So when it comes to your bank, when it comes to what you deserve, when it comes to getting the discount or getting that late fee or whatever, you don't ask too much. You ask far too little. And what does it hurt you to ask? Only your ego. So confront your ego and be like, you know what? Why are they charging? Even ask them questions, like the whatever electric company or some companies, like they have this fee, state fee, tax fee, Fed fee, and other fees. Like call them, like, what is this other fee? Is this the pizza delivery fee? Is this the you drop mayonnaise on the bill fee? Like, what fee is this other fee? Just ask for information, and the asking will develop a character that is willing to receive more, because in asking, you're putting yourself in a position to receive, even just an answer. I'm not saying money, but ask for money too. Like, look, I deserve more money than this. And another thing I'm gonna say, and ask that. Another thing I'm gonna say, because I helped just very recently this year, two people who rent, had issues in their apartment, and I think we can all relate to this. Practical advice: they had issues in their apartment. Let's say there was a issue with the heating, issue with the thermostat, or issue with the plumbing or whatever. And they kept calling the management to call the super to, get this done. And they were just dragging their feet. They were like, oh, yeah, we'll get to you, whatever. And I said, this is what you do. Tell them before rent is due, I have asked for help with this situation, and I will be withholding this month's rent and next month's rent, and until the situation is resolved. And when it is resolved, I'll release the money. The next day, both of them, the next day, they sent that email. Somebody was there to fix it. Where it was weeks, because this is, again, negotiation. I'm asking only for what we agreed to. If I'm renting, not owning, then you are supposed to fix things that have the wear and tear. I didn't break it. It broke. Come send somebody to fix it. Okay, we'll send somebody. All right, well, I'm paying this rent for a fully functional unit, not a unit with a busted toilet, not a unit with a busted heat, not a unit with messed up plumbing or messed up thermostat that I got to open the window or get a space heater. I'm paying for that. So if I'm not getting that, I'm not paying until I get that. And that's all you're saying. You're not stealing. They're stealing if they're not going to give you what you contractually agreed to receive and pay for. You're going to pay full rent for less than full service or full everything working. Then tell them you're going to withhold the rent until they get that done and see what happens. Just open the conversation. It's not a threat. It's a negotiation. And you deserve to be taken care of. So sometimes you need to up the temperature a little bit.
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned that, brother, because since you said that we ask far too less, that we should be asking more, I would like to request that from now on you give me $100 bills with love readings on them, instead of
Not
$2
not
bills.
$52 bills.
Oh
Come
no,
on.
we gonna skip all. I thought about it and I was like, you should ask for 20 when he said it, and I was like, nah. He said you asked for far too little.
Well, I got to give it to you, Calysōl. You right.
I learned quick, brother. I learned
You
quick.
using it right now. I thought you was going to at least wait till after the show, but I mean, look.
Nah. I gotta have receipts. See, if I catch you on here and you agree to it, then I got a receipt, man.
That's right.
Charles here in the comment section says accountability and responsibility plays a big part with using these credit cards. Yep, that's right. Got Lisa here. She says financial adulting at its best. Love that, Callie. So look here. Financially adulting, that's a whole situation. Folks will be borrowing your money and buying Chanel bags with theirs, and paying they bills with your money and buying Louis Vuitton with that it's a nice slick little game that people play, and they'll emotionally hijack you. They'll do whatever they got to do to get it because they know you got it, and if you're friendly enough, you're gonna give it up, right?
There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Nice is misrepresenting your boundaries to try to appeal to somebody else's good their pleasure. They're like, oh well, I'm glad, to make them like you, to be nice. To be kind, you can still treat people different decently, but you don't have to misrepresent yourself. Because if I don't want to say yes to something, then just don't say yes. But I can kindly deny, no, I don't want to do that. Or no, I don't have that. Or I don't want to give it to you. It can simply be, oh, I know you got it. I do got it. And I don't want to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's mine. It's
It's
mine.
mine.
It's mine. And people are like, oh, you got all this money. Then what? Yeah, all of my money. Right. If it was, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. And you have the right to ask, and I have the right to refuse. Right. And it's not out of love or out of, oh, I want to see you in a bad place or anything. It's just, I have the right to not want to do that. And that's fine. Right. And y'all have to exercise your right of refusal more as well. Remember back when you were 2-year-olds know how to do it. No.
Oh, yeah. Everything. They got boundaries.
Food. No. And where they learn that from? They learn it from you. Every time they pick up something, no, put that down. They try to put the food on their face. No, put it in your mouth. Then now you're like, eat the food. No. Put your shoes on. No. Come here. No. Right. So it's a powerful first word to learn. So why don't we start using it again?
That's right. We got Izzy back here. She says, yes, love y'all. And Charles, I went up. Charles said you should use the credit cards to pay the bills and then pay it off. And then pay it off for the points. That helps your credit grow. Also, it eliminates fraud because credit cards are insured.
Thank you for the wisdom, sir.
Thank you for that. I forgot about that. Oh, Izzy says, you two are a whole vibe. I love it. We good people, Izzy. We good people. That's right.
That's right.
That's all we got here on the Feel Good Talk Network. I'm so grateful for everybody. Trust.
So
Charles says,
no, go ahead.
Charles says, yes, people see the results and not the real work that goes into getting the reward or awards. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Thank you.
And let's see.
I was going to say, did you want to read anything before we go, or you good with the conversation?
Time rolled so fast, Naeem. I did have stuff from your book. Let's not read anything from the book because I know we got to be rolling pretty soon here. I do have one question that I'd like to ask to close out, and I know you already answered a fair amount of this in your closing that you just gave a few minutes ago. But my question is, from the Love Doctor, from your mouth to our ears, What boundaries can we set for ourselves so that we don't contribute to others financially abusing us?
Uh, I would say answer this question for yourself, or take on this mentality. Do what you want to do and don't do what you don't want to do in all aspects of life. Now, financially, let's say someone's out here panhandling and they're like, man, I got 3 kids. I need the baby formula. I need to pay rent. I need to do, or no, not rent, but I need to get some food. And you're just like, I want to give them some money and give them some money. Or even without the story. Here's the one thing for that. Set aside, and this is a whole bigger lesson, but set aside a certain amount of money that you are willing every week, month, whatever your schedule or pay period is, to give for other people. It's just a generosity account. Let's say it's 10% of what you have. Let's just say it's $200. Let's just say that. Now, don't give beyond that because of a story, because that means you're purchasing a story now. But if you are setting aside $200 a month to give to other people with no questions asked, just give it with no questions asked, because you want to, because you're exercising generosity, which is helping you, see things, to give and receive yourself. Without getting more deeply into that, if you don't want to give money to somebody, just don't. Right? Or if they ask you for 100, but you can only give 50 comfortably, then only give 50. So like, I don't want to give them 100, but I do want to give them 50 because more than 50 would be a disturbance to my peace of mind or my financial affairs this month or whatever. So I'm going to just give them that. Then do that. Stop worrying about what other people think or feel. And also don't look for appreciation in it. And another way you can do it is start valuing the things you do for people that are not necessarily monetarily related. So for example, if you cook somebody a meal and that meal would normally be like $25, $30 in a restaurant, or if they had, take money out of your generosity account, that's that $25, and give it to yourself because you gave it to them already in the form of the food. Or you give somebody a ride to the airport. The Uber would have been $60. I had $200. I'm going to take $60 out of this account and give it back to myself because I gave them the value of $60 without having to give them $60. And that way you'll be paying yourself for doing things for free for people. You can give a monetary value for whatever. It's like, my time listening to this person vent for 20 minutes got to be worth at least $2 an hour. So that's $40. I'm going to give back from here back to myself. Right? Or whatever the case. You just have to find creative ways to pay yourself first. Another thing I would say is, when you get paid, let's just say it's $1,000, use a round number, and you have $800 in bills. Don't pay $800 in bills and then save $200 for yourself. Give yourself $200 first and then pay your bills. It's the same thing, but it's not, because the mindset is pay me first. I'm going to pay myself first, and then I'm going to pay the bills with what's left, instead of I'm going to pay the bills and everybody else, and then whatever's left, I'm going to give to myself. That's not a healthy way of using your financial energy and resources. So there was a lot there, but it all comes down to do what you want to do and don't do what you don't want to do. And it takes practice. And also, you don't ask too much of life. You ask far too little. So start asking for more things and realize that everything is a negotiation. And you're going to mess up sometimes. So be gentle with yourself and know that you're innocent. We all got stuff to work on. Now, I think everybody should send me $20 who's listening to this. So can y'all send me $20? Go on.
Put his Cash App on there, Charles. Put his Cash App on there.
I'm just asking. I just ask. It's all right either way. That's the other thing. It has to be okay either way. If you're asking, if you're like, man, y'all didn't give me $20, I'm mad. Like, no, I'm just asking the question because I want to ask, and it's fine. So anyway, ask for more, everybody. Don't not ask or ask for less. So that's it.
On. Thank you so much for all of that, Naeem, and thank you for your time. You're always so selfless with the way you give to me. I can speak for myself. I just love how you share with me and your knowledge and your resources sometimes and all of the things. So thank you so much for dropping in and sharing today. This man has 15 books, and I guess he's about to write the 16th.
I don't know. I'm scared of what's going to happen to the 16th, because I have one that's already written that is supposed to be finished with and published, but I haven't cared enough to ask the cover designer to fix the cover for like 3 months, and they just are fixing it. So I'm legitimately afraid of what's going to happen with me. Like if somebody doesn't take it and publish it for me, it might not get published. So I don't know. But yeah, they're out there. Check out Healing Toxic Relationships. And for you, Calysōl,
you got my $2. Oh, look at that! I done hit the jackpot. $102.
102.
Look, and Charles talking about I need $2 until next week, Calysōl.
Let me hold it. Let me hold it. I just want to hold it.
Let me hold something. HT says, thank you for this healing conversation. And I'm not going to read the rest of the comments. I'm going to just say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for sharing with one another. Thanks for sharing with me. And thank you for tuning in to this healing conversation. Thank you, Naeem, for tuning in and dropping in today and offering your words. Y'all make sure that y'all check Naeem out. He is an awesome author. He's got books like Love is Not a Game, Trust is Not a Game, Communication is Not a Game. Communication is Not a Game is like an encyclopedia on helping you out learn how to communicate. That joint is, I should have bought it over here from the bookshelf. It's thick, good stuff. But whew, thank you so much for this healing conversation, everyone. It's been lovely. This has been another episode of That's So Calysōl. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Check out all of my other friends on the network and see what they got, because we got good content on this station. We are very intentional about doing our healing work and lifting and upbuilding the community. So thanks again, everyone. And until next month, I'll see y'all.